This section focuses on choosing the Amazon Machine Image, or AMI, for your EC2 instances. Choosing the AMI is the first step to provisioning an instance. An AMI includes a template for the root volume of the instance, launch permissions, and block device mappings. A root volume template contains an operating system and typically other things like applications, libraries, and utilities. Launch permissions control which AWS accounts can use the AMI to launch instances, and block device mappings specify additional storage volumes to attach to the instance when it's launched. You can launch multiple instances from a single AMI. This provides several related benefits. One benefit of using AMIs, repeatability. You can launch instances a bunch at a time with the same baseline configurations very efficiently. A second benefit, reusability. You can create an exact replica of an instance, for example, to duplicate a compute environment from dev to test. The third benefit is recoverability. If an instance fails, you can replace it with a new instance from the same AMI. You can also create an AMI from a modified EC2 instance as a backup of that instance. This slide lists key characteristics for choosing your AMI. Refer to your student guide and the AMI types page of the Amazon EC2 user guide for more details. Here's a brief summary. Select an AMI that matches the region and the operating system you need for your instance. Choose an AMI with a storage type for your instance needs. Either Instant Store backed for temporary storage or EBS backed for persistent storage. Choose an AMI with the type of processor architecture your instance needs. And finally, choose an AMI with a virtualization type of either Paravirtual or PV or Hardware Virtual Machine or HVM. For best performance, choose an AMI with HVM virtualization type. You can find AMIs in AWS categorized into Quick Start AMIs built by AWS, AMIs that you created called My AMIs, AWS Marketplace AMIs, and community-built AMIs. This diagram shows the EC2 instance lifecycle. When you launch an instance from an AMI, it enters a pending state. The instance is being provisioned and is booting on a host computer. When the instance is ready, it enters the running state. At this point, you can connect to it over the internet and start to use it. You can initiate a reboot of a running instance, and it will enter the rebooting state. A rebooted instance stays on the same physical host, maintains the same public name and IP address, and retains data stored on its instance store volumes. You can also terminate an instance from the running state. You cannot connect to or recover a terminated instance. With Amazon EBS-backed instances, you have the additional options of stopping or hibernating an instance and then starting it again. When you stop an instance, it retains its private IP address and elastic IP address if it has one. When you restart the instance, it's typically migrated to a new underlying host computer and assigned a new public IP address. Hibernating is similar to stopping, but the instance also retains its in-memory storage, so you can pick up where you left off. There are some differences in when you stop incurring charges when you terminate, stop, or hibernate an instance, but you don't incur charges for instances in the terminated, stopped, or hibernated states. EC2 Image Builder is an AWS service that automates creating and deploying images, and it provides version control. Use its graphical interface to create AMIs or to generate VM images for on-premises servers. Your student guide also includes details on how to create your own starter AMI from an EC2 instance. We've covered a lot of details in this section, but here are the key things to remember. AMIs provide information needed to launch an EC2 instance. AMIs provide repeatability, reusability, and recoverability. Use an AMI with the HVM virtualization for best performance. AMIs are available from these sources: AWS Quick Start, My AMIs, AWS Marketplace, and Community AMIs.